feel and real is unfortunately not the same. So my feel is to have my left arm way behind me, hand super deep, but the difference is minimal, but in a golf swing is still significant. But yeah, I try to overdo the feel for sure.
Right, and that couple of inches that then is different on the downswing, that's how you got there. So yeah, you need to really exaggerate these things if you can measure them frequently, like what we're doing by comparing pictures side by side. We've got motion measurements in here, but you nail all of those motion measurements really well from the side view here. Fred, let's talk about your swing inside a GOLFTEC lesson. That's what this is. So using the tech that we have to talk about why you play golf like you do, and there's a ton of cool things we can measure. That's what I wanted to show you.
I'm excited.
I know you're into that stuff too, so this part's cool. Well, first let's look at the top of your swing. This is your, I'd say your standard swing over here on the left. That's your normal top of the swing. And we were discussing this a little bit earlier about how high your right elbow gets at the top of the swing and how high your arms are, which isn't wrong in any way. But for you to try to hit the shots you want to hit, it's making it a little harder. So explain to anybody watching here where your bad shots go, and then that really gets into why we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. So lately, I've been hitting it quite a lot behind the ball slightly and kind of have too much face roll. So it's almost like I'm stalling out, hit a lot of fat shots and a lot of kind of like start straight but then hooks.
And you say a lot, but it's like twice around.
It's a lot for me.
Yeah, right. Needs to be less to play professional golf. So one part that we were looking at was on the downswing, when your lead arm is parallel to the ground, right about here on both of these swings. Well, they're a little bit different, so I thought we'd talk about that. First, you've got the shaft on your before swing, your first one, going through the top of your shoulder from this side view. And then over here, you've lowered that down. So first of all, if you look at tour players, there aren't many that actually have the shaft through the top of their shoulder. What you're doing at that point in time is you're ready to slice. Your swing direction is to the out to in, left to the target. So what you've learned to do is bend yourself backward, don't turn very much, and then just lower the shaft in to do it. And that's the start of having too much of the twisting of the shaft about its own axis that way. So one way to stop doing that, where you can have the face more open, is like the right picture, where the shaft is now a little bit lower. Your swing direction is very straight into the ball now. So you don't need to stop turning, bending backward and twist the shaft to help move the swing direction more to the right. Does that make sense? Yeah. So a lot of the problems, not even the problems, it's literally like twice around you probably hit an iron shot you're not really looking for. But they start there. The way that we talked about changing that was just to feel like your arms were a touch lower at the top of the swing. And that, where we started the video, is where we're at now. So the swing on the left, where your elbow is further off your rib cage than the one on the right, is significant enough where your lead arm's just not as high into the air. And definitely looking at just the launch monitor data up here, you can see how your elbow is conflicting with that top number, and down here it's below that significantly. So that's a good start. And then the practice with the follow through, I think, was really interesting. But tell everyone at home who might not take a bunch of lessons, you're really skilled at this and awesome at golf, what that feels like to change the pictures that way, just that little bit.
Yeah, so it doesn't look like much, but for me, literally it felt like I'm trying to hit the wall behind me. So feel and real is unfortunately not the same. So my feel is to have my left arm way behind me, hand super deep, but the difference is minimal, but in a golf swing is still significant. But yeah, I try to overdo the feel for sure.
Right, and that couple of inches that then is different on the downswing, that's how you got there. So yeah, you need to really exaggerate these things if you can measure them frequently, like what we're doing by comparing pictures side by side. We've got motion measurements in here, but you nail all of those motion measurements really well from the side view here. So let's talk about now the follow through, where occasionally you hit these shots and they have the starting direction is too far to the left. Here's the club face angle on the left-hand picture. And if I had to pick a spot where I thought that face was aiming, it would be something probably about like that.
I agree with that.
Okay, and I'm sure you've seen some that are better and some that are worse, but that's what I would pick for that swing. Now the practice that we did over here, I would suggest that this club face, even though the image is a little darker, is probably something like that angle. And you'll notice it a little bit more when the club actually appears on this side of the ball. We'll look at the amount that the shaft is twisted here versus the swing on the left, and how much more that's pointing down at the ground.
Yep.
And you might also notice the angle of the shaft, how it's coming out lower, and it's more horizontal than this picture, where the shaft's standing up a little bit more vertical.
And I'm much more rotated on the right.
Definitely, that was the practice, was how to do that. So your hips are turned 10 degrees more, and that's helping you just slow down the rate that the shaft is twisting so much. Then we go all the way up to your follow through. See where that club face is pointing at. That's probably worth a quick glimpse to see how those are different. And a lot of people ask, like, why does the follow through matter? Does it matter that your face looks like that now? And I don't know what you would tell people, but I would say absolutely. That's indicative of what's happening when you're hitting the ball.
No doubt.
So the more open the face is here, the less likely it is to be close to the target. For you, that's a nice advantage. And same story, you're turned more in these. And I want to go all the way to the finish. This is your traditional follow through on the left, in the way I asked you to hit this shot on the right. So a couple things, and then some of this could probably even be a little bit different. I said don't turn your foot past 90 degrees, check. Some of these with your driver on the left, I'd see the angle of your shoe from toe to heel would maybe be something like this.
No
Here's
doubt.
the heel of your shoe. And that space between your legs starts to get a little bit bigger, but more importantly, how much you've flexed your elbow and how much you've twisted the shaft in the picture on the left is much more than it is on the right. So I think that's your best practice. If I were you and you didn't want to hit a pull draw and you wanted to make sure you didn't hit the ball fat, I would be focusing on the follow through parts of hit this ball, turn your hips as much as you can by the time your right arm's parallel to the ground, and get up as fast as you can too. And that's really like the end of your swing.
Yeah.
You couldn't hit enough balls just stopping with your arms parallel to the ground. Right here, as straight as you could get them.
Yeah.
And keeping the face angle, probably in your world, the way you practice is a feel that's 45 degrees, not 90, and definitely not like your worst hits. Those are the pull draws. So you want to punch one out there, trying to stop here with the face more open. Don't worry, everybody's watching you, but I'm sure you'll do fine. Nice hit. So I'd expect a ball that does that. It pushes, and if anything, it won't curve as much.
Yeah.
But that's the opposite of what you're trying to do, you're trying to avoid. So hit this one, and then I will take a quick picture of it.
Okay.
And by picture, I mean a super cool video that will show some differences. Nice.
Still went left. Let's see what we did.
You crossed the line by 10 feet. I would expect that once in a while, but that would be your worst one.
Yeah.
If you started to pull draw more than that, you'd have a problem. You'd know, the ball would really tell you at this point, right or wrong. That's pretty good. Face looks vertical.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it when it comes out on this end to look vertical at the most with the amount the shaft is twisted.
Okay.
And then that shaft, this one's worth talking about for you, because I think for better golfers, understanding how the club comes out in the follow through is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
So the angle of the shaft here versus what you just did on this one, the vertical aspect of that's important too. That's indicative of you not twisting the club as much.
Oh, like that,
That's how you get the shaft out horizontal.
Okay.
There's a point you wouldn't want it, you don't really want it vertical that way.
Yeah.
But somewhere close to 80 degrees would be better than the 45 on the left.
Yeah.
That's
Should I try to keep the head square once?
If you want, that was good enough. I would just hit that.
Do.
You just hit a half-degree push, and the ball barely curved, and it went 192.
See if I can do it a little bit better.
And those feel like chip shots for you.
Go. I should land on top of the line. Come on, Nick.
Oh, it's going to roll past, though. Across the target again.
All right.
Too bad.
That felt pretty good, though.
You could just hit balls like that and do fine. You carried that 190, just getting more comfortable with it. It's a 1.6 degree push. Your swing path is 3 to the right. I mean, it's golf right there.
Yeah.
Then there are other parts of your swing that we can look at too, but that would be priority one. Every iron, especially as they got short. I don't know if you feel like you pull draw the short ones a lot. That That's all I would be focusing on, is how to do the follow through and your arms are parallel to the ground. So that's all I would do with you today, at least, would be just to hit some shots, practicing that follow through, get really good at the feel, watch where the balls go, see what pops up next.
Yeah.
You can practice your lower arms so that your downswing is different at the top. It's not that you practice the lower arms at the top to practice that. It's for the downswing. That's why you need to do it, or that's why I would suggest that you do it if you're struggling with these problems.
So feel a little bit lower in the
Definitely.
backswing, and then really feel like I maintain the rotation, keeping that club face more square through the ball, and hit a lot of those kind of pitch feel swings, right?
Exactly. Where you're
Like
just stopping sooner, trying to get the maximum amount of hip turn that you normally have at the end of your swing, just trying to do it sooner.
A little bit earlier,
Yeah, you got it.
I'm going to finish off with an absolute beauty.
Tie it all together.
Tie it all together right here.
Smash that one. Pushed, it's curving a little bit too much, but not bad. 200-yard
Still got
carry.
work to do, Nick.
Then you go right back to hitting more punch shots. Again.
No
Keep
doubt.
the face more open. You'd know what that would look like. It'd be a little bit more rolled through the ball. Nice job.
Thanks,
yeah,
bud.
you're really
Appreciate
good
it.
at this. So this is nothing really hard. But regardless of what level golfer you are, there's tons of information that the technology like OptiMotion gives you, and then someone who teaches all the time can guide you along really nicely.
Love it.
Whether you're a rock star player or you're just getting beginning. Thanks for watching.